Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the St. Louis County Board of Zoning Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Janet Herman, Chairman, Angelia Bills, Vice Chairman, and Justin Randall, Member. The BZA Coordinator is Debbie Nesbitt. Staff member is Mel Wilson, and staff planner is Abby Freudel. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, January 12th, 2022. The board hereby takes official notice of and admits into evidence on the record the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 1003, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended, and Chapter 1004, St. Louis County Revised Ordinance 1974 as amended. Next, I call for a motion to approve the minutes of the previous BZA meeting of December 15th, 2021.
So moved.
And
Second.
okay. The hearing procedure is informal, but is a teleconference and is recorded. The planning staff will read each request into the record. The petitioner will be unmuted, state their name, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the reason and hardship for the requested variance. The board will not consider financial hardships. Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts. When the board is satisfied with the material presented, the chairperson will then ask if there is anyone in favor or opposition to the request. To indicate you would like to speak, click the hand next to your name. If any comments were submitted, staff will read them into the record. Before a call for the vote, the petitioner may request a continuance in order to bring in additional documentation. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a visit to the site. Once comments have been heard, the chairperson will call for a vote. At that time, the discussion is ended and no further discussion is permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. 2 members of the board must vote in favor of the petition for it to be approved. If a variance is approved, you have 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use requested, or the variance will expire. The petitioner or any interested party has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This must be done within 30 days of the decision. Paperwork indicating the board's decision will be mailed to the petitioners.
This is 0122 Andrea Felton requests an exception to the front yard regulations for the purpose of replacing a deck and stairs at 4632 Tiemann Avenue, maintaining a front yard of 17 feet in lieu of 20 feet as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Jeffrey, I believe you're unmuted now.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
please
this
proceed.
Yeah, we're basically we're wanting to replace our existing deck. She's got a roof that comes out over the deck, and it's got the support posts literally go down through the original deck. So we're trying to keep it the exact same size. That way we don't have to mess with her existing roof structure. So that being said, it basically comes out to the same layout that's there. It's just with the codes here, we're going to be about 17 feet rather than the 20-foot setback.
Did you? Is it?
And that's just for the steps. That's just for the steps, not the deck itself. The deck itself will be it'll be in the same location, but the deck itself will be behind the 20-foot mark. But the steps coming off the deck will come up to about 17 feet.
Okay, and that's about the same as they are now?
Yes, it is. It may come out about 6 inches past those because the way they've got their rise on their steps now is a little bit more. I think we'll lessen ours just a little bit, so it may come out about. It'll still be within that 17 feet, but it may come out about 6 inches more or so because I'd like to lower that rise. It's kind of it's too high of a step as you step up the steps.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 8 inches, and we'd like to get it down 7.5 each one or so, 7 5/8. So, but it should put us right at the 17-foot mark.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions to Angelia or Justin.
I do have a question. Will the deck, is it just a replacement in the same area?
Yeah, it will be the same. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, this question's for staff, I guess. Mel, does this zone district have that regulation about the average of the setbacks along the street that allows them to go down to 15 feet if the average does?
I believe it does. I've not dug too deep into that provision, but this is if that I believe that would be allowed in this district since this is getting into the higher density residential districts.
Okay.
But
I
like I
think I
said,
remember seeing R5. I just can't remember that one was in there.
this
so.
is the highest density district that's still only single family.
Okay. All right. That's all.
That's all, okay. Is there anyone else on here that would like to speak in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand by your name.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, 01-22, I'm gonna vote to approve the variance as advertised, the hardship being the need to replace a deck and stairs that are in disrepair. And that's going back in the same place as it was before.
I second it.
I'll concur.
Okay, your paperwork will be sent to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
0222-5 LLC requests an exception to the front yard and sign regulations for the purpose of refacing an existing monument sign at 6324 Telegraph Road, maintaining a front yard of 10 feet in lieu of 15 feet and a sign size of 97 square feet in lieu of 75 square feet, as required by the C8 Planned Commercial District Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and C8 Ordinance 24069.
Jim, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
The property owner for this project.
Apologize, Jim. Could you start over?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Jim Gleason with Sinorama representing 5 LLC, which is the property owner for this property. We were here last month with basically the exact identical request for a different property just down the street. So this is the same builder, same monument, same size, same circumstance. It's an existing monument that when it was constructed, Mr. Watson was the zoning administrator. He only charged us for the signage on the monument, not the monument size itself. So now we're in a situation where we're trying to modify this monument, and the current zoning administrator is considering the entire monument as a sign as opposed to just the sign on the monument. In my application for permit, they only said that we needed a variance for the size of the sign. The previous one, which had the same zoning, required sign and setback. So when I had applied for the variance, I had applied for both variances. So I honestly think I need both of them. I think it's just an oversight on his point, but the gentleman from the county that sent me the information said we only needed it for the size, but C8 I think allows for the setback only to be 15 feet, and we're at 10 feet.
And is this a residential or is this commercial? This is commercial, right?
Commercial. It's on Telegraph Road. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. And for identification for everything that's back further in the, I guess it's a mall. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you can get 12 panels in there. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Angela or Justin, to you?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Is there anyone on this WebEx that is in favor or opposition to this that would like to speak, please hit the hand next to your name.
Greg Kilper, are you intending to indicate you're in favor of this request? I see a check mark next to your name.
I am in favor, but I'm also one of the owners. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, hearing none, 02-22, I vote to approve the variance as advertised. And basically, they're using the same sign. It's one.
I'll second that.
I'll concur. Okay, your paperwork will be mailed to you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
0322 Michael Hutter, 1010 Trampy Avenue, and Geraldine Harper, 1006 Trampy Avenue. Request an exception to the side and rear yard regulations for the purpose of maintaining an existing home and detached garage due to a proposed boundary adjustment at 1006 and 1010 Trampy Avenue, maintaining a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet for the home at 1006 Trampy Avenue, a side yard of 1 foot in lieu of 6 feet, and a rear yard of 3 feet in lieu of 15 feet for the garage at 1010 Trampy Avenue, as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Okay, Mike, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Thank you. This is Mike. This is my third time to appear for this variance, and it's been over a couple years. And the first 2 times were approved, and we were stopped because the lender, Geraldine's lender, did not send back the Mylar that we could process and record. So we're doing this a third time, and the difference this time is that I'm in the process of I'm preparing my house for sale and to move, and I got a little leverage with Commerce Bank of America. I'm sorry, and they've already got a refinance approval, so we don't have to deal with Chase Bank in Louisiana. It's already understood that Bank of America will approve this, and we can get it all done finally. And the survey was revised about 2 years ago and updated for approval just recently. The reason for all this is that my dad originally owned both houses, both 1010 and 1006, and he built the garage for 1006 on top of the 1010 tram property line. So we proposed that where the property line actually goes 6 feet on my neighbor's garage. So the idea is to quitclaim some land to her, making the property line in front of the houses, moving between the driveways 6 inches from her garage, and it'll dogleg in the backyard. And essentially the bulk of the land is towards the front. And like I say, this has been approved twice, and we got stopped by her lender not sending back the Mylars. And I think we're going to finally get it all done once and for all. Everybody wants it done, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to add. But I had things I would hand out to each, highlighted where the actually property line and the land was, but you may have that in front of you. Yeah, that's the thing I would right there. I had that highlighted with the land description that I will quitclaim to her. And she's like an innocent party. She, my mom's estate, or actually my dad's estate, they're passed away now. My dad sold the property to Geraldine, so she's like an innocent bystander, so to speak. So yeah, her house is in the highlighted in red. The present existing property line is a real dark, bold black line, and the proposed one is like a dog leg to go around the garage and then cut over in the back. So I think that's what I need to say. Can't think of anything else.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't really have any other questions. Sort of remember this from before. And,
Right.
So, Angela or Justin, do you have any?
No.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Is there anyone on this WebEx that wants to speak in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand next to your name to speak.
I don't see anyone.
Okay.
This is 3, right?
Yes.
Based on the existing conditions of houses that were built way before potentially even zoning, I recommend approval of 03-22 as advertised.
Okay. I'll second.
I concur.
All right. Mr. Hutter, good luck, and your paperwork will be mailed to you.
Thank you very much.
04-22, the Housing Partnership, Inc. requests an exception to the front and side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a new single-family residence at 200 East Felton Avenue, maintaining a front yard of 9 feet in lieu of 20 feet along East Felton Avenue, a front yard of 0 feet in lieu of 20 feet along Joplin Avenue, a side yard of 1 foot in lieu of 5 feet for the existing home, and a side yard of 3 feet in lieu of 5 feet for the room addition as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Robert, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Hi, my name is Rob Wagstaff. I'm an architect with Urban Works Architects. We are working with the Housing Partnership on this home down in Lieu. It's an existing home. It's from about 1900. We are doing this project as kind of to demonstrate the possibilities for some of these smaller homes, frame homes in the neighborhood, in order to kind of spur redevelopment. The existing building right now basically sits on the property line. Our addition to the rear of the building is approximately 16 feet by 18 feet, 18 feet in the long direction. So it is basically adding stairs to get to the second floor and a first floor bedroom and closet space and entry into the building.
So I'm a little confused on our, the paper we have here says constructing a new single-family residence, but you're really adding on, correct?
Yes, yes, this is an existing 2-story frame, really story and a half frame. And then the addition is going on to the rear of it.
Right, okay, so when you're speaking the rear, what we're looking at right now,
That's,
what do you consider that, the side or the?
that is the front of the building.
Okay, I know you have 2 front yards, but
Yeah.
so what you're talking about adding on to would be straight back from what we're looking on right now.
Exactly. Yeah, that is the only direction we can go on the site.
Oh.
And if you look here, you can kind of see our addition, the plan, and you can see the new bedroom and the stairs that go up to the second floor. And then what we were looking at, that elevation, that photo would be to your left of the drawing. The elevation is seen from East Felton. So in order to get the required square footage, we are kind of in a position where we have to, well, maximize our our area, we wind up going over the side yard setback. Well, I guess that's called a front yard setback on Joplin, because that is a corner. We maintain 3 foot there, which is IBC's setback from a property line minimum, and then bring it over to the other side. We are at 5 foot setback from our property line, which is IBC setback without having to make a wall a 1 hour rated. And of course, our rear setback is fine. So given the existing construction and the constraints of the site, we are kind of forced to intrude into the setback areas.
All right. So you're really wanting to put the existing home that was built way before, I'm sure, any zoning, to make sure it, I mean, it's gonna stay where it is, where it's been forever and ever. And the new add-on in the back, you're moving over a little bit further, so you're not at 0.
Yeah.
And, okay, given the way the lot is. Okay, I think I understand it. Angelia or Justin, do you have any other questions?
No.
Justin, do you have any? I can't see you, so.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I guess my only question is if you are you said you're coming up against square footage issues, could you have gone a little more linear instead of square, or is there some reason why you couldn't have met that setback?
The problem comes, the problem comes in getting the stair in, which there's an existing second floor here. This is essentially a 1-bedroom house, and we're turning it into a 2-bedroom with an office loft. The office loft will be above the kitchen and the bathroom that you see there.
Okay.
And to get our stair in and to get enough room in front of the stair for what is going to essentially it's the main entry. It's also a mud room. And to adequately fit all that in, we are kind of at 16 feet, which is the width of this addition that you're seeing here, is pretty much at its minimum. And if we were to actually fit within the confines of the buildable area, I don't think we could adequately provide the kind of rational space for a stair, for the bedroom, for a closet space that would make for a good layout and make sense.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand next to your name if you do.
We do have a speaker, John
Okay.
Lloyd. John, you are unmuted to give your comments.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
yes, we can.
All right, great. Public speaking or just speaking in general is not my forte, so I'm just going to kind of read verbatim my thoughts here that I put down, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So I've got several points I'd like to make in opposition to the request for the exception. I'm the neighbor directly to the west at 148 East Felton. I'll just read my points. It'll just take a minute, and some of my points are kind of intertwined. So hang in there if you don't mind. So to start off, the house that's there, if it was 1900 right now, it might be the correct size for this tiny lot. But one of the things I'd like to point out is parking for the house. The lot size is so small that the current old existing house there has room for 1 compact car to park in the front of the street. Giving the exception 0 feet along Joplin Avenue will cause a parking and traffic issue on an already narrow Joplin Avenue. If you look there, it's narrow. It's almost too tight for the school buses, the fire trucks, traffic from Notre Dame, and the increasing amount of Amazon and delivery trucks. It's located so close to the street that it creates a blind spot to the traffic that's headed north on Joplin for traffic and for residents, just to generally keep an eye out. It creates this little dark zone. My second point I'd like to make is that, when they add on to these houses, and I'm kind of taken for a loop too. I thought they were talking about all new construction, but he's talking about an add-on. But irregardless, people here have to take unique precautions to make water go away from their house. Okay, it's very flat right here, extremely flat, and there's no water drains anywhere. That's part of the problem with the lot. Hang on here, because that threw me for a loop also, so I got to readjust what I'm saying here. No, homeowners need to be creative in channeling water away from their houses. The additional watershed on the existing houses simply is not fair. So the lot's not large enough ever to encourage private ownership as well. I mean, this is a neighborhood full of family houses, existing family houses. This is a 500 square foot house. He's talking about adding another bedroom to this tiny lot. The lot simply can't accommodate any house any bigger. The lot is honestly big enough for a one car shotgun style garage. So the street parking would be a major issue. I mean, where are they going to park? If they park on Joplin, there's in closing, I'd like to say that this lot is the poster child for why we have planning and zoning. The property was purchased around 4 years ago, give or take, by an entity called Lieu Housing Partnership with funding from the St. Louis County Port Authority for these projects. This was about 4 years ago. Shortly after that, they changed their name to the Housing Partnership. My point with this is that no individual homeowner will be hurt by denying the request for exception, but all the private homeowners that surround this lot may very well be negatively affected if the exception is granted. And I don't have the answers to what exactly to do with the existing house. I've offered to purchase it twice simply to keep the problems I pointed out from happening. I was going to turn it into a garage, and I've been denied twice. My hope is that maybe the partnership could work in conjunction with the county to utilize this tiny lot for something that will improve the area, maybe like a storm drain or something like that. And maybe the partnership could use one of their more reasonably sized lots that they already own in the neighborhood.
Mr. Lloyd, could you tell me again where your home is? Is it across Joplin or is it?
It's across Joplin, right there, 148.
Oh, right on the corner there. Okay.
Yes, and I also have the names and addresses of the neighbors that surround the house. Not everybody has the capability to do this. It was hard for me. My wife had to set it up for me. I wouldn't even be here if she hadn't done that. Yeah, and I have the neighbor at 202. I have his opposition and his address, and then the owner of 149, 145, and then whatever this one is, the address isn't on it. But it wouldn't be good for the neighborhood. They have other lots here that are big enough. Nobody is going to purchase a new house on that tiny lot. Even if they made the whole backyard parking, then the house would have no yard. And considering the funding and stuff, it just seems to me that something better could be done. We could actually get some water drainage around here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mel or Abby, could you put the plan back? Yes, thank you.
Mel or Abby, I have a couple questions regarding Mr. Lloyd's statements.
Okay.
Is there any requirement for there to be a garage or a parking space on site on the property itself?
So they would need one parking space for the single dwelling unit.
Okay. And then is there any limitations to on-street parking, or is it just open for public parking?
If it's a public street marked for on-street parking, that's permitted. If you mean the homeowner using on-street parking and not providing parking on site, I believe they have to get some sort of county action to do that, whether it's from this board or from the department, but,
Okay.
you're right, so.
Yeah, so they'd have to provide one space on site, but then a public street, there's no like permitting process for parking along these public streets, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And Mel, I can't tell from here, but is there, doesn't look like from the picture either, is there a driveway or garage or any parking for that house that's been there for a long time now?
And Debbie, if you went to the site and you want to weigh in, but from this site plan, it doesn't appear so.
Yeah, well, and from the picture, it doesn't seem so. Okay.
I have just one more question. I know Mr. Lloyd is interested in purchasing the property, and that's here nor there, but to use in this district, it has to be used as a residential piece of ground, correct? You can't do just like an accessory building. Like
Right, you couldn't have an accessory use like a garage without a primary use,
Yeah, okay,
like
perfect.
the
Thank you.
residence.
Thank you.
Angelia, do you have any?
No, I don't.
All right, was there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or opposition to this?
I don't see anyone else.
Okay. 4-22, I'm going to vote to deny the variance. I do feel, and I did not know about the water before this, but I do know that can always cause a problem with new construction. But I do feel that there's too much, there would be too much going on that property. Well, I just don't see the hardship.
I second it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I second it.
I'll concur.
Okay. So that's a denial. Okay.
0522 Saban Skelzadek requests an exception to allow the construction of a 22.1 foot by 27.1 foot detached garage storage building, which will be more than half of the footprint of the home, and to the side and rear yard regulations at 734 Regina Avenue, maintaining both side yards of 0 feet in lieu of 5 feet and a rear yard of 1 foot in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
So we hadn't seen this petitioner come in, but there are a couple call-in users I need to identify. So if you called into the meeting using your phone for audio, can you identify yourself, please? Or if you're.
This is.
Oh, go ahead.
Geraldine Harper. We got in the call late. We're 0322 Michael Hutter. And we just left the doctor's office. We wasn't able to get here on time. So have you reviewed that case yet?
Yes, the board did hear that petition and recommended approval.
Oh, okay, great. Well, then I'll hang up on the call.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
I don't see. I've unmuted Tyson Weishar.
No, I'm with the Crown Castle Tower.
With the Crown Castle. Okay, thank you.
Well, now if there's no one on for 5-22, I think since we already voted on it and the variance just expired, I feel okay going ahead and voting again if Justin and Angelia are okay with that. It's if nothing's changed, which
I'm okay with that.
I'm
Jesse?
good. I just would like just a quick little background on it. Is this an existing one or they want
Oh,
a new one?
Yes, it's existing.
Okay.
And at the last meeting, Justin voted to deny the
Yeah.
request, and Ms. Herman and Ms. Bills voted for approval.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh,
And then they
and-
didn't. So then what? Then I mean, if it's existing, what's it doing back?
Well, they had to go ahead and continue with their building permit process to make sure it's structurally sound, and they did not do that. They thought once they got the variance that everything was fine, and so the inspectors, I guess, kept after them.
Okay.
And then that's when they understood they had to go through the permitting process too.
so the 6 months ran out.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this case. Yeah, I'm fine with discussing again if we need to.
Are you fine with going ahead on voting again, or do you want
Yeah,
to wait?
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And Angelia, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, that's 0522. I vote to approve the variance as advertised. Because
And-
it's a renewal.
Yes, I also vote to approve as I did before.
I'm gonna say no.
All right. So with 2 votes, it's approved again.
06-22 Covenant Place 3 requests an exception to the side and rear yard regulations and lot coverage requirements for the purpose of constructing a clubhouse and retaining walls at 6 Millstone Campus Drive, maintaining a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 6 feet, a rear yard of 0 feet in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the R8 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Mr. Neal, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Brance Neal. I'm with Grimes Consulting, the engineer for the project. Currently, the project is we intend to build a clubhouse / residence service center that is 8,337 square feet, along with parking and improvements to the entrance of the apartment building on site. Due to funding sources for the project, we had to go through a boundary adjustment process, and that caused the property line to shift now, which also caused the setback lines to shift, and it now encompasses the existing retaining wall on site that was created during the demolition of a building in 2020. The hardship is there are a variety of utilities on the upper side of this retaining wall that would all need to be relocated if we were to have to demo it. And so that is, and then additionally, we have a retaining wall over 6 feet that needs to be put in place to meet Creve Fire Protection District's requirements for their ladder truck clearance under the elevated walkway on site as well. That ends my presentation.
So do we not have any pictures of the area? No. Oh, here's.
So I'll mark on here where the proposed, so you see the parcel that's
in yellow
outlined, and then this is the proposed location of the clubhouse where I've just highlighted.
Okay, and what's in the red? Those are apartments?
Correct.
Okay, so it's a clubhouse for the apartments. So they're
right, and then this building to the right is what's been demolished.
Oh, okay, okay. And I believe, is that a hilly part down to Lindbergh? I can't have been over that way for a while.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any questions. Justin, do you?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone on this that's in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand next to your name to speak.
I don't see anyone.
So just one question, I guess, for staff. So the retaining wall is what is at 0? Is that correct? And then, but the building is backed off or not? I think where I'm seeing the property line, there's separation for the building and the property line, just not the retaining wall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does the building need any variances, or is it just for the wall?
Just for the wall.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm good.
Oh, we actually do have one speaker.
Okay.
Joan Dennison, you are unmuted to give your comments.
Thank you. I'm the president and CEO here at Covenant Place, and I just wanted to add that the Resident Service Center actually serves 3 buildings, those 3 adjacent buildings. So it is that other parcel will ultimately be most likely green space or potentially pavement for additional parking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Justin, are you ready to vote?
Yeah, is there nobody else is needs any questions?
I don't see any other speakers.
Okay. Based on common ownership and the wall is the only thing needing the setback, I recommend approval of 06-22.
I second it.
I'll concur. Your paperwork will be mailed to you.
Thank you.
Oh 07-22, Carrie Wilkinson requests an exception to allow the construction of a 30-foot by 50-foot detached garage storage building, plus a 10-foot roof overhang, which will be more than half the footprint of the home and over 1,000 square feet in size, and to the side yard regulations at 601 Hawkins Road, maintaining a side yard of 8 feet in lieu of 10 feet for a retaining wall along the building, and a side yard of 0 feet in lieu of 10 feet for the retaining wall along the driveway extension as required by Section 4 of the R2 Residence District Regulations and Section 1003.165 off-street parking and loading regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Hi,
can.
my name's Dylan Sanders. I'm here on behalf of Carrie Wilkinson. He is actually sitting right beside me. The variance that we're requesting is to build a 30 by 50 foot detached garage with a 10-foot overhang. The building itself would be 100 or 1,500 square feet. The overhang would equal about 780 square feet for a total of 2,280 square feet. I'd like to bring your attention to a letter that Mr. Wilkinson has brought to his neighbors, setting forth exactly what he wants to do with the building, the size of the building. And he has received written approval and of consent from 7 of his neighbors approving the building that he would like to construct. So the property is zoned R2 Residence District, and as stated in Section 1003.113, a detached above-ground structure, accessory structure, shall not cover more than 7% of the lot area. At 601 Hawkins Road is 0.96 acres, which comes out to be just under 42,000 square feet. Pursuant to the ordinances, Mr. Wilkinson should be allowed to build an accessory structure that is 7% of the just under 42,000 square feet, which would comes out to be 2,927 square feet. So the building itself, as well as the overhang, is well under the 7% of the lot size. Now, we do realize that the retaining wall on the building has a setback of 8 feet. However, I would just like to point out that the building itself has a setback of 12 feet for the side yard, and the requirement is 10 feet. The hardship here is that although the building is within the requirements set forth in the ordinances, it does exceed the size set forth in interpretation CI-C-001-17, which is dated September 17th, 2017. That interpretation was created after reviewing ordinances and permitting guidelines for other jurisdictions, and it doesn't reflect the guidelines set forth in 1003.113, which is the requirements for R2 residence district. And in the event that the council wanted to change the St. Louis County Code of Ordinances, they've had 4 years to do so to reflect and mirror other jurisdictions. However, they haven't done so. And the interpretation uses the phrase reasonably necessary, and it says that 50% structure can't be larger than 50% of the footprint of the primary structure, or 1,000 square feet, whichever is greater. So it can be argued that reasonably necessary is different from a lot that is 1/4 of an acre compared to a lot that is an acre, or even a lot that is 2 acres. So the size of an accessory structure, it seems, shouldn't be generalized on an interpretation when it's different from lot size to lot size. And then, as I already stated, the retaining wall on the building, it would be at 8 feet. However, the building itself would be a setback 12 feet. And then the extended driveway is required to meet up with the building itself. That is on, we would need a variance on that as well, because that would be the retaining wall would be right at 0.
Can we go back to the other? Yeah, thank you. What is that says to the left of the proposed building? It says 2-story and something. Is that a home?
Where?
Jan, I think
That's an inset of zoomed in of this area.
Yeah, it's next to the house.
Oh, I see.
Move that up so they can see the.
So that just shows the actual primary structure as well as the extended concrete driveway.
I get it now. Yeah, I just was off on the wrong.
Yeah, it took me a second. It took me a second too.
I couldn't quite figure that out. And so back behind, I did drive out there today, and I couldn't see all the way back to the back, but excuse me. So it looks like that lot goes pretty deep. There is another subdivision back around behind them, but okay, there we go.
Yeah, if I may, there is another subdivision back there, but Mr. Wilkinson has spoken to the neighbors directly behind that would, or really any of the neighbor that would see the building. And those are the individuals that have signed the abutting / adjacent property owners letter of support. Okay. So they've been aware of this before.
I wasn't sure if those were the people that I saw the letter with the signatures, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But it would still be pretty far away from, oh, I see where I think I see some little orange flags and stuff on the yard there. Is that in the picture? Is that little orange flags there? Is that where it's proposed?
Here, there's those flags right there.
Right. That's what I've laid out.
Yeah. That's what. Yes, that is the proposed area. Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's hard. I didn't get out of my car and walk on the property. But I wanted to see. And this wouldn't be used for business, correct?
It would not. It would strictly be used for personal use. So,
Cars.
Mr. Wilkinson has multiple hobbies. So it would be used for storage for 2 trailers, a covered trailer and then a flatbed trailer for storage of yard maintenance equipment. And then Mr. Wilkinson also brews beer, wine, mead, and cider strictly for personal use. He also likes to do woodworking as well as steel working or metal working. And part of the reason for the size of the building is just to have separate rooms within it for each one of those for those 2 hobbies, or I guess 3 hobbies, just to make sure that each hobby has its own designated area, and for the storage as well.
Can you elaborate on this landscaping thing that you're talking about?
Excuse me? What?
I mean, you talked about him using it to store 2 trailers for yard work and landscaping.
So the trailers aren't for yard work and land. Those are just his personal trailers that he uses to transport items. And then as for maintenance, that's just, his lawnmower, just his personal lawn maintenance equipment. So it's nothing commercial, no commercial use for anything that would be in that building. It's strictly all personal use for personal storage and then for room for his hobbies.
Okay, thanks.
Dylan, I have a question. What is the distance of the width of the driveway going to be back to the new building? Is it going to be at least 9 foot wide?
8 foot. 8 feet.
You may want to check with Public Works because in the past, I believe they've always said it had to be 9 foot wide.
So so if you see on the survey, the dotted line directly to the left of the driveway extension, so that from the property line, so that dotted line up until where it kind of jets off to the left, that's actually property that the previous owner, who happens to be one of the neighbors, still owns. And he would be willing to sell that or give that to Mr. Wilkinson. So that would be an additional 8 feet right there. So he would be able to have, if the 9 foot driveway or extended driveway is required, that would have more room to have that. And then it wouldn't be necessarily a 0 foot setback. It would be a little further, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Angela or Justin, do you have any other questions?
I did have one question, and you probably said it earlier. What is the square footage of the home?
Of the primary structure?
Yes.
So it would be 2,914.
Okay. So the house is bigger.
Yes, the house is bigger, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mel, can you just quickly elaborate on what Mr. Dillon said between ordinance and is it a policy of the 50% or?
Sure. So first, what he had mentioned was the lot coverage requirement that's in every residential zoning district, and it's a 7% lot coverage max for the some accessory structures. So it's not to say that you get an accessory structure that is 7% of the lot. You could have, 2 small sheds and a pool and your detached garage combined would all count towards the 7%. The interpretation was written in 2017, and it is, for oversized accessory structures like this, but so it does speak to the ordinance, but it is a separate interpretation.
All right, thanks.
Is there anyone on that's in favor or opposition to this? Please hit the hand next to your name.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, well, what I would like to do is I would feel more comfortable continuing this to make sure that because they're asking for so many things here, and then Debbie mentioned the driveway not being in compliance. I would rather wait for 2 weeks and get everything correctly done as far as the driveway. If Justin and Angela, if you're okay with that too.
I am okay with that.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, so we'll continue 7-22 until next week, and you'll probably be the first one on the thing. I would just like to, since there's so many things going on here already, I would like to know more about the driveway, if you can find out more about that, okay?
So, just more information about the driveway.
Yes, maybe you can talk to the county about that, or I forget who Debbie said the,
Public Works, Amber or Tim,
Okay.
that's been working with you.
okay, and maybe get their okay on what you proposed.
Okay.
Okay, because that's a little out of my league.
Okay.
And-
And so, so you mentioned, is it next week or in 2 weeks?
I'm sorry.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I said next
And
week.
then will we get a notice in the mail, or should I just?
No, you'll get another notice.
Okay. And then other than the driveway information, is there anything else that you'd like for us to discuss and figure out for you?
Not for me. I think you've covered everything as far as, I don't know, Angela or Justin. You'll, yeah, okay. Just that, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, all right. So 7-22 will continue for 2 weeks.
08-22, Brandon Gillette requests an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a new deck and stairs at 1514 Greenfield Crossing Court, maintaining a rear yard of 8 feet in lieu of 15 feet, as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance and PEU Ordinance 13,419.
Okay, Jason, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Okay, thank you guys. My name is Jason Gazak. I'm the owner of the Deck Doctor. I am calling on behalf of the homeowner, Brandon Gillette, and he has hired us to build a deck on the back of his house. It's a 12 by 12 treated deck with a set of stairs on the far end of the house, basically, that is going to be towards the back of the property line. When I submitted the plans, I've got an email basically stating that it was within that setback of 15 feet. And so I took some pictures of his yard. He's got a very small backyard. He's got a new patio that he put in, and the deck really goes to the end. The post, the very furthest part of the landing would be right on the other side of that concrete pad that he has that sticks out the furthest, and that would be 8 feet from that fence. And so we're just looking to get a variance to be able to install this deck. Yeah, right there in that picture, you can kind of see where the arrow is. Right on the edge of that, the post, the 6x6 post would sit on the other side of that concrete pad. That'd be the furthest point away from the deck or from the house.
Okay. And so how wide would the deck be?
It'd be 12 foot wide by 12 foot deep. And then the set of stairs would be on the outside of the deck. I tried to get him to move those stairs, but he's got that basement door there that would be, he's afraid he wouldn't be able to get things underneath that stair, between the door and the stairs, how they would come down. So he's trying to get the variance instead.
Can you go back to the site plan real quick? So it's the stairs that are on the back part. Is that
Yeah.
correct, Jason?
Yeah, the deck itself would still be, 4 feet basically. So it'd still be in the way of the variance regardless, but it's the stairs. Yeah, that landing right there would be 8 foot from that fence line, that property line.
So you're a little bit, it looks like you're a little into the easement there, so.
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah,
have-
2 feet into the easement, correct.
So you'd have to get that taken care of. Whatever the easement is.
Does the property have a rear exit without the deck and stairs?
Yes.
But it's just that basement door, right? Is that
Yep.
what it was?
Yep. The basement door and then the one up above you know, on the, where the deck would be.
Right.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
I'm good.
Okay, is there anyone on this that's in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand next to your name to speak.
I don't see anyone.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and take this one, Angela, or do you want to, since I continued mine, or I can?
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. 8-22, I'm gonna vote to approve the variances advertised. I think it's not, so, well, the hardship being, I think they do need or would like to have an exit from the main floor out to their backyard, and the deck is not super large, so I don't think it would be an eyesore for anybody in the neighborhood. That's more of a hardship. I mean, that's more not a huge hardship, but I think an access to the back door would be great.
Janet, you could also go with based on the site plan, there, it does appear that's an irregular shaped lot.
Yeah, okay, or in a regular shaped lot.
I second it.
I'll concur.
Okay, your paperwork will be sent to you.
Thank you guys very much.
09-22 Merzen LLC requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing drive-through lanes and a retaining wall at 124 Gravois Road, maintaining a side yard of 10 feet in lieu of 20 feet as required by the C2 shopping district regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance and CUP number 967.
Hey, Chris, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Wilson with Colin Associates representing Panera. Panera is looking to redevelop the site. The entire area you see in red there it's originally made up of 3 parcels that we've consolidated. They are proposing their new prototype building and their new site layout that involves dual drive-through lanes. The only other one like it right now is in the St. Louis area is in Baldwin. It just opened a couple weeks ago. In order to do that, because of the narrowness of the lot and the length of it, the ratio between those two, in order to get the right amount of parking spaces required and the dual drive-through lane, we were forced to encroach into the side yard with just the stacking lane and the retaining wall. We're still in compliance with the building. We don't feel like it'll be detrimental. The portion of the area, which is just the eastern south half of the property, and then towards the corner in the rear southeast corner, it's zoned residential, but it's not a residential use. Directly adjacent to the east, it's owned by St. Louis County Water Company and just has the water towers, which I don't think that'll probably ever change. And then to the east of that is Lutheran High School, and their building is hundreds and hundreds of feet away from our property corner.
Okay.
Is there,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Janet, is there an existing retaining wall along that side, or is?
Yeah, there's if you can see, and there's like a timber.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
different in elevation. We're probably about where our stacking lane is. We're up about 5 feet higher than the adjacent property. That existing ground takes a pretty good nosedive on that side of on the east side of the property.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Angela, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
I don't either. Is there anyone on this WebEx that's in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand by your name to speak.
See anyone?
Okay, hearing none, 09-22, I vote to approve the variance as advertised.
Concur.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I mean,
I'll second, yeah, sorry.
I'll concur. Okay, I guess we should say the hardship being it was probably better traffic wise to have a double drive lane. I have seen the one in Baldwin and it looks and it doesn't seem like it's going to be impairing anybody. So, all right. So we'll send you your paperwork.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
10-22 Chester Walk requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a room addition at 8609 Deming Avenue, maintaining a side yard of 4 feet in lieu of 6 feet as required by the R5 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Chester, you are unmuted to give your presentation.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
All right, this is Chester Walk. I'm the homeowner and I'm also the carpenter. So I'm putting a little breakfast room on the back of my house. And the house was built originally 4 feet from the property line. And I'm trying to put this breakfast room on the back of my house where it's actually going to be 4 feet 8 off the property line. And I'm trying to keep it in line with that so it lines up with the back door of the house, which lines up with my basement stairs that go down to the basement. And also it lines up with the staircase going up to the kitchen. Well, I'm going to eliminate the staircase going up to the kitchen and put it back into the addition. And so if I move it over another 1.5 feet, it's going to basically block off the stairs going into the basement. And I won't be able to have, and then if I move it over on the other side of the doorway with the basement stairs, I ain't going to have no interior way to get into my basement. But that's what I'm trying to do.
So just to be clear, so your house is only 4 feet currently, and you're looking to do an addition, but it will be greater than 4 feet, correct?
It will be 4 feet 8 off the property line instead. I'm coming at 8 inches off the back of the house.
Okay.
And the setback is feet. And if I go 6 feet, then the new addition would be going right into the middle of the door that goes into the basement.
Sure. Okay. I just wanted to.
I'll have it.
It's not encroaching any further than your existing house. So.
Well, correct. Yeah, it's actually 8 inches less or more.
Okay.
From
Perfect.
the property.
Thank you.
Okay. Angelia, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, neither do I. Is there anyone on this WebEx that's in favor or opposition? Please hit the hand next to your name to speak.
I don't see anyone.
Okay. Justin?
Yeah, what number is this? Sorry, I've lost track.
10.
9, 10. All right. In case, based on the existing nature of the existing house and not encroaching any further than the existing, I recommend approval of the requested variance for 10-22 as advertised.
I second it.
I'll concur. So your paperwork will be sent to you in the mail.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
11-22 Crown Castle Towers 06-2 LLC requests an exception to the side yard regulations for the purpose of erecting a cell tower at 4250 Hoffmeister Avenue, maintaining a side yard of 25 feet in lieu of 163 feet from the R5 Residence District zoning line as required by the M1 Industrial District regulations and Section 1003-157B telecommunication tower regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
So Lynn, did you want to share your screen?
Let's see, what do you, I'm looking at what you have
We
here.
have the site plan here and this photo and then the aerial with the zoning line on it.
Okay, let's see here. I think, yeah, let me try to share my screen because it gives, I have a broader perspective that I think would help sort of frame the overall sort of development and move. Can you, is my video working okay?
No.
I don't see you.
Well, darn,
Just
that's
it's
what I
just a
prefer,
black,
yeah. Hold on.
yeah, it's just a black screen.
But if now you should be able to share if you click share in the WebEx app and then whatever application your presentation
Oh,
is.
we can see you now.
There I am.
And then is there anyone else with your group besides Tyson?
Yes, there is. So let me go ahead and tell you who we've got. And by the way, guys, I'm Lynn Gessling, and I'm here obviously on behalf of Crown Castle with regard to this application. But we also do have some folks with the company available if there are any questions. We've got Tyson Weiser, who is the Tyson is a site engineer, and then we also have Steve Kennedy, who is the radio frequency and tower engineer, and then we also have some representatives from Crown Castle on the line. We've got Pascal St. Laurent and we've got Richard Kruger, who are both the project managers with Crown Castle. So if you see them, and you could go ahead and add them in. Hopefully you won't have to talk to everybody, but we wanted to make sure that we had the team here in case there's any questions. And with that, I'm going to try to share. Here we go, because I think this gives a good overview. I'm going to go to the next page right here so that I can try to explain to you guys what we're doing here in the background is why we have some, well, I'll say our initial practical hardship is sort of a broader issue than just the site specific issue. So what's happening is Crown Castle is relocating and moving an existing tower. So the existing tower is right here.
Hey, Lynn, I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Is there any way you can make your presentation full screen?
Yeah, let's see. Is that better?
That is better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry. There we go. That's even better. Okay, so right here is the existing tower. This is the New Way Concrete property. And what is happening is the lease for this tower expires and the landlord will not renew the lease and is requiring that the tower be dismantled by September 2022. So that's a given. That tower is coming down September 2022. The proposed location where they would erect a very similar new tower is right here at 4250 Hofmeister. That is the location of Zeller Technologies, which is like an equipment manufacturing distribution company, I believe. And then the adjacent property right here is Orlando's. I grew up in South County, so I'm familiar and have been to this site on many occasions. So this is the Orlando Gardens property here. That is the adjacent property. And the property which we are requesting the setback variance for. And I'll get to that in a minute. But I think first it's important to explain to you why we're looking in this general vicinity anyway. And that's why we have our engineers on the line if we need some technical explanations. But in a nutshell, we have a coverage area here, and I'm going to go to another slide that shows you that. So right now, the existing tower, the open area that you see here, that is the coverage that it is providing. And this is the coverage that we will lose on September 2022. And so that's where we started. And Crown Castle has been evaluating and vetting sites that will, meet this coverage need. As you can imagine, and I've given you lots of information in your packets, riveting technical information. But to summarize, obviously there's a lot of engineering and, topography and all kinds of things that go into figuring out where a tower can be located in order to cover the gap without any gaps, right? And one of the unique challenges they have with this particular coverage area is Highway 55. Naturally, we've all experienced those areas in highways where you lose your coverage, you drop and whatnot. And so in order to really cover this gap effectively, their site options are limited to, roughly, those that are closer to Highway 55. I know, and there's a lot of detail in your packet, and we can certainly address, any of those in particular, but they have been vetting sites, and I have actually been working with them to vet sites for, gosh, well over a year. And I know we've had 6 sites basically fail for one reason or another. One of the biggest challenges we've found in this area are the floodplains. FEMA has been redrawing their maps a lot lately. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. And that has presented some challenges because there's a lot of floodplain in here. And in particular, right along where we see the green, almost everywhere you see the green is basically part of the floodway. And I believe the trail is back there as well. What do they call that? The greenway. The trail is back here. So in any event, there are a lot of site logistics and practical reasons why they narrowed in on this area right here where we're looking. We thought that we had landed, we'd hit the jackpot when we found this particular site at 4250 Hofmeister, because by all, first look, it looked like it checked all the boxes. One of those being that it was surrounded by commercial and manufacturing properties. We frankly were shocked when we found out that the Orlando Gardens property, which had been developed many years ago, I don't even think anybody really knows the exact year, but apparently what happened was all of those parcels, and this is maybe not the best map to look at while we're talking about that, all of their parcels, this is essentially one lot, all of this. And it's comprised of 4 parcels, and 2 of them are still zoned residential. Even though it's never been used for residential purposes, it's not used for residential purposes now. And, I don't think it even could be because of the way it's been developed and combined. The nearest residence is over 500 feet away. And we do have this in one of our surveys across the highway over here. So in terms of, checking the boxes, when we walked into this, we really thought we did, because the setback requirement between these 2 properties, if they were zoned according to what they're being used for, is 10 feet. And this tower, now I think is a good time to go to our actual site plan. And now I have to make it smaller, so bear with me.
No, I'm gonna have to jump off of this now.
Okay.
But if you guys have a split vote, Mel, you have my telephone number, I believe. Then call me if there's a split vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, while she's signing off, do you guys want me to continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay. So as you can see, well, here's the site plan that shows the distance, verifies the distance to the other residence. And by the way, the tower is being moved about 950 feet from where it is now. And that is on one of the other plans also. But here is, and I'll blow this up a little bit, here is where they're proposing to put the tower. So on the west side of the Zeller Tech building. And as I understand it, this location on this site, of course, is dictated by many things. One of those things is that there's a bunch of easements back here. And there's a flood zone back here in the back of the property. So, we explored and even talked in our pre-app meeting with planning and zoning. And I think everybody concluded that this was not a feasible place to put the tower because of those reasons. And then obviously because of the way this site is laid out with the parking lot, I believe trucks pull back here and they've got a loading dock back here. That didn't really make that a good location for the tower. So they settled on the side of the building here, which is, as you can see, here's the parent parcel line of the Orlando building property. And where we end up is with 25 feet setback, as opposed to the setback that would be required if we were next to a residentially zoned property. That requires the height of the tower. I'm sure you guys have encountered that before. So what we're asking for is a variance to this setback to allow this tower to be located here, next to this property that is developed as an M1 C8 property, but happens to have some underlying R zoning left. I also think it's, you know, I guess I should also say, because this is really important, and I've gone through this plan with Sam Orlando, and he has sent an email in support. I believe you all should have that in your packet. So we did review the plans, went through it with him, and he had no problem with it at all. In fact, he said, why can't you do it on my property? And I said, because you have R zoning, which is why we couldn't put it on his property, because of that R zoning. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, this moving the tower is closer, provides better coverage. And this is really the ideal location for what they're trying to accomplish in terms of coverage. This little residential setback is really the only issue. You know, there's overhead power lines here. There is a billboard also further to the west. I don't know if you know where that is located up here, but in essence, there's no, I would argue that there's no impact, and in fact, it's an asset, and it's something that is going to be better for the public welfare, because having good cell phone coverage is obviously very important. Nobody's going to want to have dropped calls, and in fact, this situation is pretty dire. So I don't want to have, you know, not you know, impress the importance of that. Literally, we're talking about no cell phone coverage without moving this tower, or relocating, you know, and putting up a new tower. So that's what we're faced with, and this is what where we're asking where we'd like to put it, and of course we're asking for the variance in connection with this. So if you guys have any questions, we're happy to try to answer them. Like I said, I've got the team here, and we appreciate your consideration of our request today.
I just have a question that's probably more geared towards staff.
Yeah.
I know some municipalities and codes, they'll require like the investigation of, like Lynn mentioned, a billboard and other tower, you know, like electric towers. I know electric towers typically can't handle them, but is there a siting requirement where they have to show that they can't be on those existing higher structures?
We have a whole section in the zoning ordinance about telecommunication towers, but I'd have to look to see if there's what you just said specifically. The main issue we run into is what this request is for, which is the setback from the.
Yeah, I get that. So.
Although to your point, we have to show that there's not an existing tower within 1,500 feet that we could use, and yeah. There is not. The closest tower is their existing tower, which is.
I've seen some where they actually will, like if there's a tall structure like a church steeple that has to be investigated too. It's just merely I know that's not part of that, but
it says explain why towers and antennas within 1,500 feet are not suitable for co-use.
Okay, very good. Sorry, that's completely off topic of what we're doing, but just a question.
But Justin, to your point, we did look for available elevated structures and whatnot, and there weren't any that were structurally compatible with what's happening here. So
very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in favor or opposition?
I don't see anyone.
Okay. Well, hearing none, 11-22, I vote to approve the variance as advertised, and the hardship being that this was the best spot for the towers to go in.
Yeah, and I think you could even add that there's irregular zoning that should probably be cleaned up by Orlando's at some point, but that's not part of this. So But yeah, I will second that.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just bring our presentation back up.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Twelve 22 Derek Bells requests an exception to allow the construction of a 34-foot by 50-foot detached garage or slash storage building, which will be more than half the footprint of the home and over 1,000 square feet in size at 246 Cliff Cave Road, as required by Section 4 of the R2 Residence District Regulations of the St. Louis County Zoning Ordinance.
Derek, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, first off, thanks for taking the time. Pretty straightforward. What we're looking to do here is remove a post-construction kind of garage structure that's on the site map. If you went over to it, it's currently can store up to 3 cars. It's kind of an eyesore. It's something that we've been meaning to get to as homeowners of this property for quite some time and living here. And the intention is to remove that. That's on the top there. You can kind of see it's right above the red square. It would be removing that structure and then adding this new garage structure to basically accommodate the cars that we, do park in there, along with our kind of, maintenance or lawn maintenance stuff that we do on our property, and some tools that we store in there. That there's some good pictures that you're showing there. And then in addition to that, why it's a little larger is because we currently have an RV, we own an RV, and it's parked in our driveway. So the intention is to get that RV out of the weather into the appropriate storage, and so it doesn't obviously get tampered with, stolen, whatever you want to call it. But really the intention here is to improve the property. I know, I think on the previous presentations, 722, we do have the appropriate driveway currently back to where the building will be constructed. The width of that driveway exceeds the requirements. And then there's really no, meaning we're 10.5 foot, over 10 foot off the property line on the one side, 72 in the back, and over 36 on the one side. Here's a good depiction here. The property or the new building would be going right where that red car is in the background there. And again, the intention is to get the material and things that we have in the structure we're tearing down. The other thing to note is the structure we're looking to tear down. It does, it's been on the property for a long period of time, and it is very close to the property line as well. So it's, again, we're trying to overall improve the aesthetics of the property, fit, our cars, our needs, as well as the RV that sits out in the garage or out in the driveway. Are there any questions? I'm happy to take any of those that you may have.
Yes, I have a question. What is the square footage of the garage that you're constructing?
It's 1,700. Sorry, I didn't cover that. 1,700 square foot is the garage, and then the current garage is roughly about 709, 710 square foot. So it obviously is increasing the size, but again, as explained, it's to house the RV that doesn't fit in that current structure.
Okay, and what is the square footage of the house?
It's over 2,400, around 2,400 square feet. I think 2,376. And then our property is about 24,240 square foot, all in all.
Okay, so what is your lot coverage percentage?
It's just under 7%.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what is is that existing cottage? Is that part like a apartment home or?
So yeah, this property is quite old. It predates the neighborhood, if that makes sense. That was the original kind of farmhouse that owned the property here. It is obviously close to the property line. We actually use it as in-law quarters. My mother and father-in-law live in there, or they stay there when they're in town, if that makes sense. And then our main property is the existing home up front that you see there.
And Mel, this is a question for staff. Does that count towards their home, or how does that work?
In terms of like lot coverage?
Well, I guess in terms of the 50% of the house regulation.
Yeah, what I cited earlier is 2,400 does not include that. That's about a 600 or 700 square foot. So that would actually increase the size. I mean, we use it, obviously as a bedroom and things like that for guests, i.e. my mother and father-in-law. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. The interpretation would be about this new structure. I don't think we would really consider this as part of the, counting towards that accessory structure interpretation. One thing I did want to add is we did talk about this petition with the Office of Zoning Enforcement, and they had made a request that if the board is willing to add a condition, if you recommend approval, that the existing sheds would be removed prior to occupancy permits being issued for the new structure.
Yeah. And I did talk to, I think it's Angela on that one specifically, and we have demolition permits underway to tear that down. As soon as this is approved, we can, move forward with that. So.
Justin, do you have any other questions?
And I did send over, I don't know if you guys are interested, I did send over some 3D renderings of the building. I think the questions were around, aesthetically, what would it look like? And I sent that over. I don't know if that's in this packet, but it matches the current, color palette, if you will, of our current home. Gray with kind of darker gray wainscoting, which is, you can kind of see the top of our home, not this one, but if you go back a picture, it matches that. It's got the overhang, we've got gutters. I mean, it's a very pretty, I would say, building. And it does sizably improve the current structure and the current aesthetics of the current garage that's there.
I don't have any further questions. Justin, you?
I guess one other question, Mel. Is there any like pavement requirements that have to be adhered to, or is that gravel in the back allowed to remain?
So gravel is not permitted. It has to be paved in the residential districts.
Okay, Mr. Is it Belts?
Belts, yeah. We are obviously the current driveway that you see there goes all the way back to what is currently where the garage or the new construction will go, and then inside that garage we are going to put a concrete floor in the structure. So that's all intended. The gravel that you see there is obviously around the old shed, and that's currently there. But again, that'll be rectified inside the new structure once we get approval and can move forward.
And so if the board is going to potentially approve this, or would a condition that the demolition of the existing structures and the removal of the excess gravel, is that a problem for what you're looking to do?
I don't know. I don't think so. I guess, yeah, meaning that you're saying the excess gravel that's underneath the current, the garage that we're taking out.
Well, no, well, it looks like, according to the pictures, and I didn't get out to the site, but it looks like there's additional gravel like leading up to the sheds.
That's where the building's going to go.
So okay, it's close enough there. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So if right where that red line is, you can kind of see at the bottom corner of that, there's a there's kind of a line there. That's our current driveway. It actually goes back to that point. So it is going to go to the building, and then inside the building, we're going to pour a concrete slab inside there. Then, the gravel you're seeing is where the building's at now. And again, once they erect it, we're going to pour concrete, and then those other buildings are coming out. So, and I have no problem with you guys and, adding in the requirement to tear down those buildings, or the existing garage, if you will.
Sure. All right. Mel, is there anything else if those conditions are done? I mean, with the zoning office that they.
That was the main concern.
Yep. And that makes complete sense to me. That request, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Angela, I think you're muted, Angela.
So is there anyone in favor or opposition?
I don't see anyone. It looks like everyone who's left is a petitioner.
Okay, okay, and I think that's your vote.
What number is this, Mel?
This is number 12.
Okay. And do you need separate motions? Like if we want to add a condition, do we need to vote on that and then vote on an amended recommendation, or how do
I
you?
think you would just add the condition instead of saying as advertised.
Okay.
And
Fair
then
It does say on there, on the thing, to be removed upon completion. And we're actually demoing it before we complete.
Yeah.
Right above the structure. So it is our intention, and it's in the plans.
Okay. We will, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of 12-22 with the condition that prior to occupancy of the new structure, that the existing sheds and garage just to the west of the building and gravel associated with that be removed.
Okay.
Prior to, I guess, was that prior to occupancy? Did I say that already?
Yes.
Sorry.
I second it.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
13-22 William Zimmers requests an exception to the rear yard regulations for the purpose of constructing a deck at 3212 Southern Air Drive, maintaining a rear yard of 6 feet in lieu of 15 feet as required by the R4 Residence District regulations of the St. Louis County zoning ordinance.
Thought you were unmuted to give your presentation.
Hello, this is Scott. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So there is an existing deck there now. I guess the picture that's showing you there now, the aerial, it's kind of an irregular lot. So the house could either face towards the cul-de-sac or towards the main road. And when they built the house, they faced it towards into the cul-de-sac, which that case puts their house really close to the rear line and not giving them much room for a deck. And then if you look at the site plan, there you'll see that didn't really come into you guys all that well, but on the the existing deck is 14 feet deep, and that's the main concern, which looks like to be that it was set on the 6-foot rear set line or rear yard line, and the existing deck is approximately 20 years old. There's no repairing it; it just needs to be tore down and rebuilt. The new deck is actually going to be smaller. It's only going to be 12 feet instead of the 14. And instead on the width, it's only going to be 20 instead of the 18. So really what we're looking at, it looks like when the deck was previously built originally, they went through this process. And then now we're here, now 20 years later, going through the process again to get a variance and build a new deck to suit their needs.
So will the deck be basically the same size?
It'll actually be basically the same size. It's actually going to be smaller. It's actually going to be further away from the existing fence. So currently it's 6 feet away. What I'm proposing will be 8 feet away.
So, Mel, sorry, I'm asking a lot of staff questions today. There's no provision that like if a corner lot like that gets treated like a side?
So basically, the first time they have to do anything, the property owner decides which will be treated as the side and which will be treated as the rear. So if this was considered the rear on the last request, it has to be considered the rear again.
Fair enough. Got it. That's all my questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in favor or opposition?
There is no one.
Okay. Hearing none, 13-22, I vote to approve the variance as advertised. The hardship just being it's kind of a smaller side lot and they're putting it in the same well, the same spot, but it's gonna be smaller.
Yeah. I think you could add corner, it's a corner lot and it's tough to call that a rear when it has two fronts and stuff like that. So irregular shaped lot as well. So I'll concur. Or second, sorry.
Okay, it's approved.
All right, thank you.
All right, see everyone in 2 weeks. Sounds like it'll still be a pretty short agenda.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
All
This
right.
one was a doozy.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
gotta get you warmed up for the year.
Yeah. Hey, on that one on the Hawkins Point, is that Dylan, gentleman? Is he like an attorney or what?
I think so.
Okay.
He
I
sounds like it.
almost sent you a chat